it's quite a feeling. So I think that feeling of achievement is something that can carry over into other aspects of life, and that's the most important thing in sports, that it carry over to other things as well.
Jeff Price joining us as well. And, Jeff, I know you were down there at Escambia High School as we sent off the kids this morning, part of that awesome jamboree. You had a chance to call some of these games, guys like Frank Passant and what we've seen out of A.V. Smith, but a really good team, and you think they've got a legit shot in this one.
I do. And listen, this will be their toughest game that they've ever played probably in their life because Miami Central is like that Alabama. You know, they've been there, they've done it for so long that they go into this game and they're big favorites. And I think that's exactly where Coach Bennett wants his Gators to be right now because that's the type of team they are. But look, this Gators squad, Coach, like you said, they've got so much talent. I think they've got 10 guys right now that have already signed to play college football, no matter what level it is. Here's the other thing. It is a fantastic opportunity to go down here. It's something that I never got to do, and most people don't get to do. And to play it on a stage like that, you're talking about 6A football, or no matter what level of football it is, period. But for some of these guys, Coach, like you said, it's their last time ever playing football. And for some guys, it doesn't have to be because you go out and you perform on a level like this on a stage. If you don't believe there's not scouts, tons of scouts at this high school football game, you're crazy. Just because Escambia has, coming into this year, I told you, Chad, that me and Christian covering the games, after I watched them the second week, we watched them shut out Crestview, a good Crestview team. I said, this team has got the chance to win a state championship, and it's this year or bust for them because everything has lined up, offense, defense, no matter what it is. And I still believe Frank Pizan and A.V. Smith, that's the best duo possibly in the state. A.V. Smith has come so far just to watch him grow the past 3 years that I've watched him in football. And this team in general, Coach Bennett has these guys on a hot streak. That Gaither team they just beat out of Tampa, that was no slouch, and they embarrassed them at Escambia. So I tell you, everything's in their favor, and hopefully they have a safe trip down there, and they bring the state title home.
Absolutely.
Well, coming up here on the show at 12:15, we're going to talk with UWF head football coach Pete Shinnick as they got a big game, and they're going to have a couple people out there. Yeah, and it's not going to be your typical UWF atmosphere. We get to play on a bay overlooking sunshine, usually in 75 weather. They're going to be in Michigan, where it's expecting to be in the 20s and snowing on the sideline. So you'll be looking like James Bond and up there in the parkas and in the middle of Russia right there. It's going to be real cold in this game. And, Coach, you've been in cold weather games, but Coach has also been in a football family where he's played in these games. He understands it. And in this game, though, UWF just continues to battle. I don't know enough about Ferris State to break them down, but I do know that what we've seen from UWF is when they venture outside of the Gulf South Conference, you realize that even these teams that are unbeaten, UWF is taken care of. And they're not just winning these games. They're starting to dominate some of them early on and pull away by 2 to 3 touchdowns. I hope they can do that again for all of our fan base back here on Saturday.
Oh, I do too. And listen, I wouldn't put anything beyond their reach. I mean, they've just done a great job, and I expect that to continue. And but here again, an outstanding opportunity. And I think they're going to go, despite the conditions, the weather, and all the change that they'll have to make there. I think they'll be ready mentally for that.
Coach, one of the big things going on right now in the NFL. Now, Lamar Jackson says he's 100%. Some of the doctors say he is dealing with a quad injury. It looks like he will play. Now, officially, they're going to wait for the final terms. They're sending all the paperwork and x-rays over to Baker Mayfield so he can decide whether or not he's 100% healthy.
Good.
So if that's good. So Baker's going to get back to everybody and make sure to see, and then he'll call out the other doctors when he makes his diagnosis. But I think, this is an injury that has been sustained from, they call him day-to-day right now. But is this the start, Coach? And I'm just bringing this up in general because nobody wants to see a guy, and especially he's getting into that prime state where this is his best years and how he's playing. But as much as so many, we've seen the guys like RG3 and Michael Vicks and so many of the style quarterbacks that can get outside the pocket and run and make plays, that these injuries, you have a better chance to get a quad injury when you're taking 16 to 17 hits by linebackers and guys coming at you on hard contact, not getting thrown to the ground where you're getting pulled down and they protect their quarterbacks in the pocket, but out in the middle of the flats, out there 15 yards downfield with no blockers in front of you. Coach, I hope Lamar Jackson can continue this MVP type of season and the way he plays, even as a Pats fan. I don't like, to see guys get hurt, and that's how people have a shot to win games. But Lamar Jackson, he's going to play, it looks like, on Thursday against the Jets. But, these injuries do occur a lot more from players that get outside the pocket.
The bottom line is here we're getting to the point that we're getting to is how should he be handled this particular week?
Yes.
It is very, very touchy. I can tell you that. From a head coaching standpoint, this is one of those touchy weeks you run into where you can fall off the cliff here very quickly with your football team if you're not careful. Does he need to play? Probably doesn't absolutely have to play, but should he play? Yes, if he's able to, and this is not a debilitating injury, which is not. He's hurt. This is not an injury. He's hurt. He's hurting. Okay, there's a big difference in playing with a hurt and playing injured. You can't play injured, but you can play with hurts. You have to play with hurts, and everybody else on the football team knows it. He's not the only one.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, on that football team, I would be willing to bet you right now that there are at least 5 or 6 other guys that will be hurting as bad or worse than him, who have no choice. They're going to play in this ball game and play every play if they have to. So he's got to be careful what I'm getting to here, and you can see the dilemma. If the head coach takes the little princess and puts her on the bench and takes her out of harm's way for this ball game, what tone does that set with your other players? Okay, and there's so many ramifications here of the decision made. The kid wants to play, which I would, if I were him, I'd want to play too. I think they could very easily move to a pitch count, if you will, with him. I think they can keep him away. They can preach to him. Listen, we want to work on this week. We want to work on these particular plays. Not many of them. They don't have too many without him being a threat to run the football. But we do want to work on these particular passing plays, and we want to work on these particular runs this week that would keep him out of harm's way as much as possible. You can't protect him the whole way, but I think there are ways that they can get around and maybe protect him as much as they can. But you can't keep him out of this ball game and not lose something with your other players.
He's averaging 12 runs a game. I bet that will be down. I think he'll probably only rush 5, 6 times at the most if he does. You've got a great offensive line. You've got Gus Edwards, who's very underrated. He's a good player. And then Mark Ingram running the football, who's been sustainable. And you've got the big tight ends. You've got also the cool part about how they said Ozzie Newsome is a smart GM and working with John Harbaugh, but how they've built the philosophy behind with Greg Roman and how they're running this offense right now is – remember, his backup's RG3. Now, Robert Griffin III is the same style of quarterback, so it would hurt, I do believe, for the whole system in the mental game if you had a spread or a different type of quarterback, a slower pocket, like a Drew Bledsoe type guy back in his prime. If you had one of those guys, it might mess with the chemistry of having to learn this one week and then jump right back into this new offense, where if RG3 comes in for a few plays, he's not changing the whole dynamics. It's the same style and system. Yeah. So I like that. But for Lamar Jackson, I do like the way he handled this. Because let's be 100% honest, too. I'm watching shows all over, and this is the top headline on ESPN. They're showing it on TV 5 minutes ago. They're going to come back when he goes out there and he crushes the Jets, because that happens every week in football anyway. And they're going to go out there and they're going to crush the Jets, and then they're going to go, look at the Savior doing it with an injury. Oh, my goodness. This is what Lamar Jackson said. I'm 100%. I'm gonna go out there. I'm fine. I'm gonna play. I like that he took that route because he's not making excuses like I'm a 70% guy and look what I just accomplished. He's saying, guys, I'm 100%. My athletes, my teammates are doing this. Exactly. I'm gonna go out and play football. So good for you, Lamar, not buying into all the fun and shenanigans of every show.
Yeah, it's just a touchy situation, but they can handle it well, and maybe even to the extent that they can say, look, we got to get we got to get RG3 some time, just in the event that we have to use him coming down the pike here. If we get up in this ball game, we get to the point where we can get him some playing time, we need to get him some. That's another way they can hide, if you will, the way to really pitch count this guy and keep a lot of pressure off of him.
Coming up on Monday will be a big game with the New Orleans Saints and Indianapolis Colts, as former player for Coach K, Frank Reich, and his Colts will take on a Saints team after a tough loss to San Francisco. We'll get to more on that game. Big games across the board as Dallas and Philly will battle. The New England Patriots will put everything behind of this nonsense in the tapes and hopefully beat a 1-12 Cincinnati Bengal team. Bears and Packers, big games all around. We'll talk some more, though, coming up. We got a special interview with Coach Pete Shinnick, as him and his Argos will head out tomorrow as they head out to Michigan to take on Ferris State for a chance to get back to another national title game. It's all coming back right here with former NFL coach Kay Stevenson on Talk Football with Coach K.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
It's happening. Wherever plays are being made, tickets are being sold, and fans are lining up. ADP is designing a better way to work. With industry-leading HR, talent, time, benefits, and payroll, more companies rely on ADP than any other HR partner to help step up their game. From small business to global enterprise. See how ADP can help you and your people achieve what you're working for at design.adp.com. ADP, always designing for people.
When weather hits, the right wiper blades make all the difference. That's when the Michelin Man is on your side, helping you see better and drive safer with new Michelin Premium Wiper Blades. Designed with exclusive SmartFlex technology or frameless beam design, Michelin blades flex to the curve of your windshield, giving you unparalleled, streak-free, long-lasting, all-season performance. So when the going gets tough, be ready with Michelin Premium Wiper Blades. It's a difference you can see. Available at Walmart, Pep Boys, Amazon, and other fine retailers.
The Paul Feinbaum Show.
Everything you wanted to happen hasn't happened.
Oh, my gosh. That's all any of y'all want to talk about is Alabama.
You're really not understanding the conversation, but anyway, we can move on.
Alabama's dynasty has just begun.
Hold on a second, Charles. Somebody wants to talk to you.
I don't want to talk that compelling moron.
He's nothing but a lame-head old man.
2 till 5 every weekday afternoon. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You're out of your freaking mind, cowturd.
You're listening to Pensacola's home for hometown sports. ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM.
Coming up, a reminder, you can catch the Argos in action as they will be playing right here on ESPN Pensacola at 2:30 with kickoff against Ferris State from Michigan. Coming up here on Talk Football with Coach K, we'll sit down with UWF head football coach, Coach Pete Shinnick. And welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Chad Brillante, Jeff Price with our former coach in the NFL, Coach K. Stevenson, who joins us each and every afternoon from 12 to 1. Joining us now, getting set to go to Michigan, where they've gone all over the road throughout their illustrious playoff career and taken down teams left and right. And now joining us for another big game against an undefeated Ferris State squad who last year had a chance to play in the national title game, Coach Pete Shinnick. Coach, it has been a whirlwind of a season once again, and we're so proud of the Argos and what they've done.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate the support we've gotten from Pensacola and just how great they've been through this process. And obviously very excited about another opportunity for our team to go play what looks to be, one of the best teams in the country.
You bet, Coach. I'll tell you, congratulations. It's not nearly strong enough. What you guys have done has been phenomenal, really has, and we congratulate you to the hilt. Listen, let's talk a little bit about this game coming up in Ferris State, and there's not an awful lot of knowledge in this area about this particular team. I think most people know that they've had an outstanding program up there, and that they have been involved in the national championship race. So if you could fill us in, that would be a big help to start with.
Yeah, really, Ferris State, been around for a long time. I believe it's Tony Anise. He's their head coach. He has really he took over the program in 2011 and really has turned it into one of the better Division II programs in the country. Last year, they took the they took the national champions, Valdosta toe-to-toe in that national championship game for their only loss. They were 15-0 going into the game, and that was their only loss to Valdosta by 2 points. This year, they've been nothing but spectacular, 12-0. And really, Coach, haven't played many close games. Their opener was a one-pointer. And since that time, 5 points has been the closest game they've been in. So they've really found ways to kind of suffocate people on defense and then on offense score enough points to win each game. So it isn't like they're winning 50-0, but they did, they do. In the playoffs, they've won 37-10 and 25-3. So a tremendous defense and a very, very good offense.
Well, certainly, we all know this is going to be one heck of a challenge. But each week we just think, how can they do it? And you go do it again. Talk to me a little bit about how you're preparing for the weather up there, Coach. I know this is going to be a little different for your kids, but listen, I've always said I've played in quite a bit of cold weather, but once you get on the field, it's the same for both teams. I don't care whether they're from that area, whether it's Buffalo and Miami playing or whomever. Once you get on the field, both teams have the same problems to contend with. But how are you preparing your football team for this week?
Well, fortunately, God's been gracious because it's getting colder in Pensacola. So, we're going to go out today in 45-degree weather with some wind. Yesterday, it was 80 degrees in the morning, and by the time we got done with practice and the rain and the wind, we were in the mid-50s. So that has been helpful. We've had ice buckets out there for guys to stick their hands in. Just to get used to what that feeling is, and we've frozen some footballs and that kind of thing so that guys understand what it's like. But Coach, I agree with you. I mean, once you get going, and you've been in. I mean, Buffalo is as cold as there is, when it comes to NFL games. So, once you get going, I mean, you just got to get guys used to it, and they just got to get that field. But we've had some great weather in preparing us for it, and it's supposed to be mid-40s today. So we're going to take advantage of that and try to get as much accomplished as we can with our guys feeling comfortable about what it's like to play in that type of weather.
Well, that's good. You are right. This is going to help some. It's not exactly the same, but it'll certainly help. You've been able to overcome whether your quarterback has had the great afternoon or not. You've still been able to make it happen. Last week, quarterback came back with a big ball game for you. How are you set up this week? One, let's talk about injury, and secondly, how do you feel your football team is approaching this football game itself?
Well, our guys, Coach, and I appreciate that about, we our guys just really find ways to get it done, Coach. And that's, I couldn't be happier for them as to, what they've been able to accomplish. And so, whether it was, the Wingate game where it was raining and, we couldn't throw the ball very well, but we ran for over 200 yards, or whether it was this week where we ran the ball for 100 and threw for 360. Our guys have just found a way, and I think they realize that as the game's going on, what they need to do, and where it needs to be picked up and what needs to transpire. Preparation this week is, with college comes classes, and with classes come finals. So we're in finals week, so we've had to adjust our schedule a little bit, move it around as guys have had to leave practice early or come to practice late because they're taking tests. Our university has been very gracious. We're going to have the opportunity, I think, for 9 guys to graduate today in a ceremony that Dr. Saunders is going to preside over because they won't be able to walk this Saturday with everybody else. So we've got a special ceremony for them. And extremely appreciative of our university doing that for us. So this week's been a little crazy, but that's this time of year when you get into the playoffs and you've got things that are on the academic calendar. You just sit there and go, okay, how are we going to handle it, and what are we going to do?
From a talent level, how would you rate this Ferris State compared to, let's say, Valdosta, Lenore Ryan? Some of the other teams.
Yeah, I think this is as talented a group and as good a football team as we've played. Would definitely put them up there with Valdosta State, and I think that showed up last year when they went toe to toe with them, in the national championship game. So this is a very, very talented group that really does a lot of things very well. So, Coach, it's as big of a defensive line as we have seen across the board. We've seen bigger defensive linemen, but we've not seen a D-line that is, starting with their field defensive end, 280 pounds, D-tackle 300, nose guard 290, and, boundary end 275 pounds. So this is a large group.
Well, I should say so. Okay, what is your schedule now? You're going to be flying, obviously, and so what's your schedule?
Well, good. We are flying. We're excited about that. We'll leave here from the Darrell Gooden Center about 8 a.m. Friday morning. We'll get to the airport, fly up. We're flying into Grand Rapids, and we'll get off the plane, grab some lunch, go to the hotel, check in, and then go get a practice. Try to get a feel for the weather, be outside a little bit, and see what that's like. And then, Coach, we're grabbing a dinner, and then we're back to the hotel for our normal nightly meetings. And it's a 2:30 kickoff Central Time, but it's a 3:30 kickoff Eastern Time. So we'll get on the bus, head over to the stadium, and get ready to play.
Well, this is a huge, huge week for you, for your players, for your assistant coaches, and everyone involved, for the whole school and for the community. So we're proud of you, Coach. We wish you the very, very best, and look forward to talking with you next week.
Thanks, Coach. Always appreciate you having me on. Thank you very much.
You betcha.
All right, that was Coach Pete Shinnick right there, the head coach of the UWF Argos, as UWF gets set to take on Ferris State. You can catch that game right here on ESPN Pensacola with the 2:30 kickoff, as they will be in action right there in Michigan, getting set to go at 2:30. And we're looking forward to catching this game. This is a team that last year went to the state title against Valdosta State. And, Coach, what a lot of people, when you get to a title game, a lot of times whatever happened before is in the past and you're looking forward. But from our standpoint, what we do in the media is break down how a team has gotten there. And when people talked about Eli Manning, yes, he went 9-7, but the year that they beat the New England Patriots and the undefeated team, they also beat 3 juggernauts at Green Bay, at San Francisco. I remember that run they went on was incredible in the NFC playoffs. Mm-hmm. What they've done this year is they beat the number 1 team in the nation, who had beat them early in the season at their own home in Valdosta State, who was ranked number 1, who was the defending national champions. Then they went and beat another undefeated team in Lenoir-Rhyne, who has been in many Final Fours throughout the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. And now they're taking on a team that is ranked one of the top in the nation, undefeated, and was in the national title game as well last year. So they're not just beating playoff teams. They're beating the teams. They've beaten one, and if they win this week, they have beaten both teams that were in the national title game last year. It's an incredible run they're going on, and it's not just playoff teams. It's the best of the best they're beating in the country.
Yeah, I can't say enough about the job they've done out there. And listen, this is a fine football, an outstanding football coach, and more importantly than that, he's an outstanding person.
When we come back, we'll talk a little NFL football. We'll get into some of the college matchups and some of the news and notes going on with some of the new hirings. Also, take a look here at the Baltimore-New York Jets game and more on some of the key matchups this week, including a couple that, they didn't think they would find themselves in, but now it's 6-7. The winner, if you can get back to 500, you're looking in a pretty good spot to get a home field ticket to the playoffs. Coming back right here on Talk Football with Coach K.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
No matter what team or sport you love, connect with it all on SiriusXM. Hear ESPNU and more in your car, on your phone, and at home when you subscribe now with packages starting at $5 per month plus fees. Get closer to every major league with play-by-play, expert analysis, and even fantasy sports coverage. Plus, ad-free music, comedy, entertainment, news, and more. Connect with what matters on SiriusXM. Visit SiriusXM.com/listenESPN to learn more and subscribe. Channel lineup varies by package.
Progressive presents Get Pumped. Inspiration to help you do insurance stuff.
Hey, get your head in the game. This ain't no exhibition match. This is for real. You've got a house to insure, and there are no excuses because Progressive's Home Quote Explorer makes it easier than ever to get the coverage you need. Here's some music to get you pumped. Feel that confidence. Did I say stop saving money? No.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers.
It's time for some straight talk. You know those football players who are all talk, no show? Well, big wireless carriers aren't much different. Well, Straight Talk Wireless doesn't give you the hype, just the savings. For just $45 a month, You'll get the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G. No contract. All on the same 4G LTE networks as the big guys, but up to half the cost. Savings delivered right to your wallet. Only at Walmart. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
You're listening to Pensacola's home for hometown sports. ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
And welcome back. It is Talk Football with Coach K right here on your hometown leader for sports, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM, alongside Jeff Price and Coach K Stevenson. And Coach, there's been a lot of changes over the last couple of weeks in coaching. We knew a lot of that was going to happen because coaches were waiting for bowl games or waiting for their championship games to get done, as what you saw with a guy like Lane Kiffin winning at FAU and having a chance to take the job at Ole Miss. Mike Norvell at Florida State after his victory for Memphis. I do want to ask you the question, though. Coaching in a bowl game, do you think the kids at Memphis and the fans, because Memphis has been a good program. We played them in the American Conference Championship a couple times as UCF, but before our fake national titles. But when we look at the job at Florida State, that is his job. That's where he's going to get paid. That is a spot where people, they don't use that as a job to get to a next job. That is the job for many people. And Mike Norvell's not going to coach their bowl game. But frankly, to me, that should not be a problem. If I was a Memphis fan, I would understand it because it's not a lateral leap. If it was a lateral move, I'd be a little upset. But this is the job of a lifetime that everybody has to look at. If you're in the same shoes as Mike Norvell, what would you do in that case? And I hope everybody at Memphis can understand that he had to take this, the opportunity there.
Well, sure, and as to whether he should coach the bowl game or not, that's entirely up to him as far as the decision.
He's not going to.
But I will tell you this: it's better for everybody that he not coach it. No question in my mind about that. And I can give you a number of examples of why it should have happened before. Maybe somebody has stayed on too long. They should have left before a bowl game or a playoff game and gone on to their other team. His primary focus right now, let me tell you, if you think the bowl game that Memphis is in has any importance, more so important than what he's thinking about his job is at Florida State, putting together a staff, recruiting, all the things that he's got to do at Florida State. Let me tell you, that Memphis is way, way down on the totem pole. They're much better off having, if nothing else, an interim, somebody else coach that football team during the bowl game. You're talking about coaches. There's some interesting things that have happened here. And let's hit a couple of them, and there are three or four really. But one of them is interesting. Chad Morris going to Auburn, hired at Auburn. Now, is Gus going to give up the play calling and hand it back over to Chad Morris, who's coming back in now as a very high-paid, well-known assistant, just been the head coach at Arkansas, was the head coach at SMU, had all that great offense at SMU. They thought they were going to have at Arkansas with him out there. That didn't happen. The offensive guru to some extent. How are they going to handle that at Auburn? That's going to be very, very interesting as to the Gus. Now they've known each other for a long time, and so it's not like total strangers. I mean, they've known each other and have been quite friendly, really. I think they were on the same staff at one time. Mm-hmm. So it's not a total shock, but it is going to be interesting to see how they end up handling that. situation. The other one that is developing right now, and there's an awful lot of talk about it, which I can't see happening at all. But the big question is Urban Meyer to Dallas Cowboys. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I don't think it should. I think, but anyway, that is the big question right now. Anybody have any inside info out there? Give us a call.
Well, I've heard Bob Stoops is coaching. No, I'm just joking. Is he the new John Gruden? You got to throw his name into every conversation.
No, this is the big question on the sports shows.
Yes, exactly. No, and you're right though with Urban Meyer. That was one, and the reason for it too is Herb actually, and they never do this. A lot of the coaches, they'll just be like, you never heard Urban Meyer once out of his mouth say, "I want to coach USC," but it made sense him moving to the West Coast. And frankly, I'm not going to say it wouldn't have got done if Clay Helton, if they had the right resources together. I don't think a lot of times, from what I'm hearing, is that a lot of these coaches were asking for the moon and the stars, and some of them wouldn't give up the athletic director position, a lot of the other things. Remember, they were going to get a new athletic director as well since Swan was out. Now, for Urban Meyer now to go to Dallas, I think this makes sense because Dallas doesn't need to be like the one thing Urban Meyer had was he was winning titles, but anytime a guy would get arrested, somebody would come in late for a curfew at their dorm, the newspapers, everybody in the world would eat it up like they're doing it with the Pats with videos these days. They just want to lash on to everything that he had got in trouble. Not the only coach that people were getting arrested. Now, he had turned a blind eye to things, but in Dallas, people don't care about that. They want to win football games at any cost, and he can just worry about one thing, winning football games. And he's a good football coach. I think, personally, if it's a move for Dallas, if I'm a Dallas fan, whether the moral ethics or you want to go to church with Urban, that's up to you. But as a football coach and that perspective, Coach, we don't know, and it's a big leap. You know that as an NFL football coach. But as a head coach, 10 times better than having Jason Garrett, in my opinion, on that sideline. That's my opinion. I mean, just as a football coach and what I've seen him do.
Well, there are two or three things here that go beyond just a coaching situation, okay? One, you're talking about putting two sharks in the same fish tank. Very likely not going to work. I would doubt very seriously that Urban Meyer and Jerry Jones are going to hit it off well. I say that way the first time Jerry Jones spanks him, which he will do publicly, Urban will have to go back to the hospital. So I just don't see it. I don't see it happening.
Let's see. I think we have a phone call here. Caller, who's this?
Hey, Barry Shuck, dogsbynature.com. How are you?
Hey, Barry.
Yes, Barry.
Here's the thing about Urban Meyer. He's got to be in charge at all times.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, I don't see how that's going to work because Jerry Jones is the owner, but he's also the GM. And Urban Meyer would have to be on the same title as coach/GM, and that's not going to happen.
All right.
Urban Meyer is very articulate. He's all P's and Q's, and things bother him. I can see the first preseason game that they would lose, and everybody would be up in arms. Urban Meyer would go crazy over something like that. That's the reason Bill Parcells left the Cowboys, is because he did not want to be controlled by the owner and wanted to make his own football decisions, especially concerning players.
No question about it. I just said a minute ago that the first time that Jerry Jones, and this will happen, but the first time Jerry Jones spanked Urban Meyer, and he would do that, it might disrupt Urban so much he might have to go back to the hospital. So the point is, I agree with you. I don't think it would work at all. And listen, some pretty good ones have tried it. We're talking about Nick Saban. We're talking about Steve Spurrier. And it just doesn't work for some people. So I think
it doesn't work. Doesn't work at all.
Barry, I did hear earlier today, I was listening to Golick and Wingo, and they were talking about Marcus Spears, who played for him right there, played for Wade Phillips, and he said Wade was one of those coaches that they worked their tails off, but he gave them a chance to go out hunting and enjoy their time. They said he was one of those coaches that really treated the players like people, meaning that, Wade was one of the good guys, and Wade had success actually in the wins and loss column, but Jerry wanted to come in, and he was already paying Jason Garrett a lot of money to become the next coach and move him in because he knew he could control Jason. Where Wade was an older coach, Coach K, Wade, and he was the guy that wanted it.
Yeah.
He wanted the rights, but it never was going to work out. He was already putting Garrett in that situation. But he did say, Marcus Spears says Dallas has had two coaches, Jimmy Johnson, and he had a guy in Bill Parcells, where there were moments where they told a guy like Jerry Jones, hey, you know what? I got this one. And even though it didn't work out long term and eventually they end up leaving, at one point, they were able to win championships or get close to that. Parcells had the ball snapped against Romo, but the most success. And I think Jerry's just going to have to come to that age and the conclusion that if you want to win championships, he has to stay out of the coach's business. And that will be with Urban Meyer before there's any paperwork. If it happens, he will have to. And no, Jerry can't.
He's not going to do that. Jerry Jones is not going to do that. He has.
No.
Listen, he didn't put all that money, all this time and effort, this much of his life into this football team. And this is a good reminder. The Oakland Raiders never really had but one football coach, and that was Al Davis. He was owner, general manager, and head coach. Period. The same formula is Jerry Jones and Al Davis. They're working on the same formula. Jerry has been the ultimate head coach. Listen, anytime you start placing assistants and telling, making all the personnel decisions, and even down to the assistant coaches and who's going to coach what, who's going to call plays. You don't call them anymore. Let this assist. That's crazy, absolutely crazy.
Not only that, it's selecting players. Bill Parcells always wanted defensive players first and foremost, and clashed with general managers. When he was with the Giants, he clashed with George Young constantly.
Sure.
He didn't want Rodney Hampton. He wanted linebacker Darian Connor, and that's the way it'll be with the Cowboys. I'm not saying the Cowboys won't hire Urban Meyer. I don't know how that would work as far as who's going to make what decisions at one point. But in the end, it's just going to be another Jimmy Johnson / Bill Parcells situation / Wade Phillips, where a great coach and has success and can win championships, but just goes on his way because they can't make the critical decisions. They're not going to be told what to do. They want to build the team on their own terms and decide what's best for the franchise on their own.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And the only way this could happen would be if Jerry Jones is convinced that hiring somebody like Urban Meyer, the name, would be a PR move that would reverse the trend. Right now they're in a downward trend from a marketing standpoint, a PR standpoint, everything that the Cowboys have built over these many years. If he felt that he could turn the tide, stem the tide on that, at least for the time being, he would make the move. But I do not think I agree. I think we all agree that it would be a very, very difficult situation. Two sharks in the same fish tank wouldn't last.
Now, here's another denominator that you may not be considering. His son, Steven. Steven makes a lot of decisions.
Oh, yeah.
Jerry Jones wanted to draft Johnny Manziel, and Steven stepped in and said, nah, we're not doing that. You see how that turned out.
No, that's true. That's exactly true.
That's why, look, Jerry's not going to walk away, but I do think, though, and we all do, would we all agree, though, Barry, with the coaching terms out there, with the possibility of the Atlanta job, the long term of Carolina, the jobs that might be opening up with the New York Giants or down the road with Washington, and all of these jobs out there, the best job that is about to be opened, I think regardless if they make the playoffs or not, the best job with the roster of athletes you have would be the Dallas Cowboys. And that offense, to me, looks very similar to the offenses that Urban Meyer had. Remember, Alex Smith, a quarterback that could run, could play in the pocket. Tim Tebow, you had quarterbacks throughout his time, the J.T. Barretts and the guys like Braxton Miller that could run and make plays. Dak Prescott's he's an Urban Meyer type quarterback. You've got Ezekiel Elliott, who got the most out of Ezekiel Elliott when he was at Ohio State winning a national title for Urban Meyer. He's got the big play threat in Amari Cooper. He's got an offensive line with 3 Pro Bowlers on it. The defense has a bunch of weapons. A lot of them have been hurt, but Leighton Vander Esch's and guys like that. I think that roster, it fits the mold of what Urban can do it. And we all know Urban Meyer. It's very simple with Urban. If he's got a roster that he can win with, he's going to be there. If he can't, then he's not going to have any part of the team. That's why he left Florida when Tebow was gone, and that's when he left Ohio State and the other times when they didn't have a quarterback when Haskins was gone. That's what happens when you talk about Urban Meyer. And I bet if Urban knew Justin Fields was going to be this good and go back in a time machine, Urban Meyer would be still shaking hands in Columbus.
No, I think they moved him out of close.
I know they did.
But here's the deal. I agree with what we're seeing here to a certain extent. They've got a lot of talent. Me personally, I wouldn't take that job under any circumstances. Not given the fact that you're going to be faced with a situation with Jerry Jones. You can't win. You cannot win in the long run. The only guy who made that work was Jimmy Johnson, and because he had a pre-existing relationship with Jerry Jones going back many, many years. They were on the same offensive line together, starters at Arkansas, won a national championship. Now, let me tell you, other than Jimmy Johnson, I don't think anybody if Bill Parcells can't win, you're in trouble. You're in trouble.
That's exactly true. Mm-hmm. And Parcells thought he was going to get more voice in matters, and in the end, he found that he couldn't.
Exactly
because
right.
Because when he was with the Giants, George Young made all the personnel decisions. They conferred with the coaching staff, but basically it was the general manager's decision on, free agency was in its infancy then, but as far as draft picks, as far as contracts, I mean, they cut Phil Simms because of cap numbers. And so that shows you what kind of influence the general manager had, and Parcells didn't want that. He wanted to call his own shots. Well, Urban Meyer is no different. Nick Saban's no different.
Yeah. It's a totally different game. Now, let me tell you, it is a totally different game from the NFL to college to the NFL, however you want to do it. It's
Absolutely.
Just totally different.
Hey,
Absolutely. When you get money involved.
Well, Barry, we appreciate the call. We want to definitely we'll have you back on here to talk a little more and get the analysis of the next, I guess you could say, CAT scan from Dr. Baker Mayfield, and we'll have you on to talk about that if you like, if that's okay.
Great. Y'all have a good week.
Barry, appreciate it, buddy. Yeah, Barry Shuck of Dogs by Nature does a great job. He broke down a little of the Myles Garrett situation, one of the lead writers there for the Cleveland Browns, and I'll tell you, it's one of the things with, and we do have to take a break, but this is, I want to resurface. This is a big topic, obviously, with Urban Meyer in Dallas. I do want to get back into the bees. There's a couple different routes, but the college game, I think the next move for Urban Meyer is going to be the NFL. And I don't think, we all know that he's not done coaching. Whether he says it or not, you could see him salivating on Fox, watching those games, wanting to be on the field when Ohio State won the Big Ten title. When we come back, we're going to get to more on this. And it's great to have a former NFL coach to be able to break this down, who was lucky enough not have to play or coach for an owner like Jerry Jones. He had Ralph Wilson. Coming back for more right here on Talk Football with Coach K.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Dude, it's game day, and I'm fired up that football is back.
I know, but I'm bummed they don't show my favorite team on TV around here.
All right, well, what about that place Calvert's? They're a really cool English pub-style restaurant, and they have a really good drink menu.
Yeah, but what about the game?
Don't worry, they have the NFL Sunday ticket and plenty of TVs, so we can watch any game that we want.
Ooh, I just looked at the menu, and that Abbey Road burger is calling my name.
Calvert's in the Heights Restaurant and Bar, 3102 East Urbana Street, calvertsintheheights.com.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range, Highway 29 in Car City.
This year, don't just say Happy Holidays. Get a gift that says, I love every moment that led us here. With the incredible selection of Le'Veon jewelry at Jared and more exclusive designs than any other store in the world, it's a perfect place to find a gift that says it all. Shop the Le'Veon Fall in Love event from December 3rd to 12th for exclusive offers, including $100 off any Le'Veon purchase, only at Jared.
Get a promo code or find a store near you at jared.com. Exclusions apply. See store or jared.com/Le'Veon for complete details.
It's happening. Wherever plays are being made, tickets are being sold, and fans are lining up. ADP is designing a better way to work. With industry-leading HR, talent, time, benefits, and payroll, more companies rely on ADP than any other HR partner to help step up their game. From small business to global enterprise. See how ADP can help you and your people achieve what you're working for at design.adp.com. ADP, always designing for people.
Coming up on Sports Call this Saturday, UWF back in the national semifinals against Ferris State, the Army-Navy game, and I'll just go ahead and say it, Joe Burrow has won the Heisman. This Saturday at 11 on Sports Call with Davis and Justin on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome to ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1. Pensacola's home to the best talk in sports, new and improved. We are ESPN Pensacola 1330 and FM 99.1.
You're listening to Pensacola's home for hometown sports. ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
And welcome back. It is Talk Football with Coach K right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Chad Brillante, Jeff Price, Coach K Stevenson. Coach, we got a couple minutes left here as we get set to go here for another Wednesday of Tomahawk Talk with Terrence A. Gross coming up here to talk some more on Florida State's new coach, Mike Norvell. But, you know, to the issue, I think we're going to obviously hear a lot about this once we get into February, the second week in February, when the Super Bowl's over. I think the next 2.5 months, it's going to probably be the conversation of, if they have not already fired him, who the Dallas Cowboy coach will be. And it's a hot topic with Urban Meyer right now, as you brought up, as his name is out there. But this is it's always Dallas is a polarizing figure. You talk Dallas, you talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers, the New England Patriots. There's names that resonate. And Dallas is the team that America's team, as they call it. But it is going to be very intriguing because this next move, I believe whoever it is, whether it's Urban or not, I do believe it's going to be a splash hire because Jerry is getting up there in age and he wants to make a final. This might be his final move to set the Dallas Cowboys, where Jason Garrett was sort of his control. He could control Jason. He played for it when he played for the Cowboys, when he coached on the sidelines as a coordinator. My opinion is it will be a splash hire, whether it's Urban Meyer or not. I do think you're going to get a big name, and that's But that's just my opinion on this. And you know more than I do on this, being around.
If I were Jerry Jones, there are some good coaches in the league, but you got to dig down and do a lot of research to go find them. They're not the name coaches, okay? I would go get one of those good, sound, solid coaches right now. Bring them in.
Heck, I'd get Joe Brady right now. I mean, why not get
Brady's too young.
I know,
but if they go get one of those solid coaches right now and bring them in there and give them a chance to coach, be the best chance to turn that football team around because they got good talent. A good coach would know how to use that talent, would know the systems, would know how to handle a pro football program, organization. All those things that you have to be able to know and you have to have a feel for. Otherwise, you're not going to be successful. You will not be successful. So that would be the route I would go if I were Jerry Jones.
Coach, looking forward to catching up tomorrow. As a great interview with Coach Pete Shinnick. As the UW Fargo's. Looking forward to sitting down with you tomorrow again.
You bet. Look forward to it.
Appreciate it. Coach K. Stevenson, Jeff, enjoyed it. Looking forward to talking to you as well.
As always.
All right. For all of us here on Talk Football with Coach K, I'm Chad Berliante. Have a great rest of your day. We'll be back tomorrow at noon right here on ESPN Pensacola.
Football is here. Catch all the UWF Argos games and the big NFL games every Saturday and Sunday on Pensacola's home for hometown sports. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. If you would like to be a part of ESPN Pensacola as a sponsor or promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000 or visit our website at ESPNpensacola.com.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Your ESPN Pensacola Sports Update. I'm Jeff Price. In the NFL, big-time players look to be done for the year. Mike Evans and Alshon Jeffrey are reported to be done, but have not yet been placed on IR. However, Darius Geis and Marvin Jones Jr. were placed on IR already. Tomorrow, Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens will look to continue their dominance as the Jets come to town. Lamar Jackson looks to play Thursday as he continues to battle a quad injury. For the Jets, Le'Veon Bell will not be suspended as he was seen Saturday bowling, even though he was ruled out for Sunday's game. Jets coach Adam Gase said Le'Veon did not break a team rule. In college football, LSU's Joe Brady wins a Broyles Award given to college football's top assistant coach. Kentucky's Lynn Bowden Jr. wins Paul Hornung Award for most versatile player in college football. Utah State quarterback Jordan Love declares for the NFL Draft. Love is the 7th best draft-eligible quarterback according to Mel Kiper. In the NBA, the 76ers continue their dominance at home, beating the Denver Nuggets 97-92. Embiid had 22 points for the Sixers, and Philadelphia has now won their last 13 at home. In college basketball, Texas Tech upsets number 1 Louisville 70-57 at the Jimmy V Classic. It's the 4th number 1 team to lose this year. That's the most before January 1st in NCAA history. J.J. Culver scored 100 points for the NAIA school Wayland Baptist in their 124-60 win. J.J.'s brother Jarrett currently plays for the Minnesota Timberwolves. In the MLB, the Yankees locked down Garrett Cole, signing him to a 9-year, $324 million contract. This deal is the largest deal for a pitcher in history, surpassing Steven Strasburg's deal earlier this week. Tomorrow, the Escambia Gators football team will look to win a state title versus the Miami Central Rockets in Daytona, Florida at 6 p.m. local time. The Gators come into this game 14-0. On offense, they average 38 points while only allowing 9 points a game on defense. Tune into the Sports Drive at 5 as Gators head coach Mike Bennett will join the show from Daytona, Florida. From all of us here in Pensacola, good luck, Gators. For your ESPN Pensacola Sports Update, I'm Jeff Price.
Stephen A. Smith here. If you're like me, you have a mortgage and a family who depends on your income, then you need to protect the ones you love with life insurance. Life insurance can help pay off a mortgage or send the kids to college. It's peace of mind. Think you can afford it? Chances are Select Quote can help you get it for less than $1 a day. Select Quote comparison shops up to 10 highly rated companies, including Prudential, Banner Life, and Mutual of Omaha, and others, to find you the company with the best rates. For example, Select Quote could find a 35-year-old man a $500,000 policy for under $21 a month. That's less than $1 a day. Select Quote's breakthrough technology allows them to quickly match you with the best insurance company to find your best policy. Plus, quotes are free. Start protecting your family today. Call Select Quote at 1-800-601-6992. That's 1-800-601-6992. Or go to SelectQuote.com/Smith.
Get full details in the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your premium could vary depending on health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Football season never ends on Talk Football with Coach K.
Stidham is tearing it up at New England. He may well be the incumbent to Tom Brady there.
Former head coach of the Buffalo Bills, Coach K brings his expertise as he breaks down the game, the players, the coaches, and the front office. Plus, high-profile interviews from the biggest names in football. Talk Football with Coach K every weekday from noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1.
Well, I finally did it. My student loan is totally paid off.
What? What about our plan to win the lottery and start living? You know, travel the world on matching yachts, wear enough jewelry to require a bodyguard, vacation on the French Riviera, and then buy it.
You know we're never going to win the lottery, right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs, the Florida Society of CPAs, and the Ad Council.
And welcome into Tomahawk Talk right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Chav Brillante here, Jeff Price sitting in as well, and joining us each and every week, sponsoring the show for the Gross & Schuster law firm, Terrence A. Gross. And Terrence, it's always great to see you, and as you said walking in, there's always something to talk about in Florida State football.
There is, and a lot to talk about this week. In fact, if someone wants to join in and even call in during the show, how could they do that?
850-623-1330 is the number, 850-623-1330. Also, we've got a text line at 850-623-1330. So if you're out and about, maybe you're heading on a lunch break or you're just heading out for the day, running home for a few minutes, and you want to weigh in on a subject, you have a question for Terrence, myself, anything about Florida State football, or you just want to weigh in on the hire, you want to talk about the new hirings of guys like Dillingham or keeping Hagens on board, whatever you want to talk about, we can join you right here and be part of it. 850-623-1330. You can text or call in the show and be part of Tomahawk Talk today. So that's how they can be part of it as well. I'm telling you, it's been an exciting week overall, and let's start with the main topics here of Mike Norvell and talking about getting set to go. As he's a young guy. He's had a few more grays, it seems, since he has been a head coach at Memphis. It happens over time. I've got kids, I know, but he's 38, and he has a lot of energy. He has the excitement. And more importantly than any, his track record shows that he's a winner. What he's done at Memphis, a lot of 10 to 11 win seasons. He's put a lot of guys at Memphis into the NFL, which shows that he can produce high-quality athletes from four-star type recruits, even at Memphis. He's not the name that pops out of the page like a Bob Stoops or a James Franklin to some people, but Terry, I think it was a good overall hire.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm elated myself. There are a lot of fans are not. They wanted the big splash. Took forever, and even I was starting to whine and get impatient just because of the pressure of recruiting. December 18th is signing day, so that leaves that coach, whoever it was, very little time. But they vetted it. I think last time with Willie Taggart, he was hired in 4 days, very quick. The contract with Willie was way too long, way too much. The rumor mill, I've heard the numbers. I don't want to say them because, again, we're dealing with rumors. So I don't know what the contract is. I suspect it's way less than Willie's contract, and which leaves us plenty of room for top-of-the-line assistants. I think when we came in with Willie, we also made bad mistakes on our assistants. So we're pretty much cleaning house. I love Bryles, by the way, who was brought in for this last year. But I think Norvell wants to run his own offense. He will be calling most of the plays. So he needs a coordinator who will work with him, and he's worked with this coordinator from Auburn. They were together at Memphis. They were together at Arizona State. So he's handpicking. That's good. We'll see on the defensive coordinator, because really everybody has talked for the past couple of years about our offensive line and how horrible they were, and they were.
Yeah.
But our defense gave up chunk plays all season, and even the season before under Willie Taggart. People miss that. And so I think our run defense by the end of the season was pretty good, but our pass defense, especially third and long, was atrocious. So we need a really stern, disciplined, seasoned defensive coordinator. We're not going to get Mickey Andrews. I don't think that. But there's some out there. He's got his contacts. We'll see who it will be. I'm throwing that Charlie Strong. I just like the Charlie Strong thing, but I don't even know if he's in the market, for a DC thing. He's getting a lot of money after being let go, and does he want to be a DC after being a head coach at Louisville, Texas, and South Florida? Do you really want to jump into a DC role? Maybe not, but as far as recruiting, holy cow, Charlie Strong. I mean, he's got the Gator connection, the South Florida. He's got great connections in recruiting. Be a big splash, and I think he'd be tough. But I know they're looking at the Georgia DC. I think the money, we can make that happen, and I'm glad we kept Haggins. We've got that. So we'll see. I think he's talked about special teams. Our special teams have not been wonderful. So we'll see that. And that's sometimes people forget about special teams. They don't even know who the special teams coordinator is for most schools.
Yeah, and I think it all stems, as Nick Saban, as guys that have been at the top, they know it stems. If you have a good leader, then the people around you will follow. But they do need good recruiters. They do need good people to get out there and keep this hype train going right now. That hasn't been great when it comes to wins, losses, but the energy of bringing in Norvell, they have to have this energy out there that, hey, look what I mean. Right now, the biggest recruiting, like Nick Saban walks in, and his recruiting tactic is, guys, you want to play on 8 primetime games, or you want to play on 2, where you're going to get the money, where you're going to have 100 million eyeballs staring at you at 2:30 on CBS, and everybody in the country is watching you, and they know your name when you go pro, and they buy your jersey, and they buy your hat and your brand. Do you want that, or do you want to play for this team and have 2 games in primetime? That's his pitch, and the kids go, put me in primetime. They love the flashy. They love that. If I'm Mike Norvell, what I'm selling right now is, look what I did at Memphis with less. If I get a guy like you, I sent Paxton Lynch to the NFL as a first-rounder. I sent these guys. Imagine what I could do with you guys as talent like that. I'm creating an 11-1 roster with these guys. That's what I would be pitching, and I think that's what the brand needs to sell right now is I won. Willie really didn't have that. I mean, Willie had some wins, but at Oregon and Western Kentucky, he was a 7-5 type coach. Mike Norvell's been a 10-2, 11-1 type coach, and that's what I'd be selling right now.
Well, question of the day for you. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yes.
Other than 3 of our Final Four teams being no-loss teams, what do 3 of the 4 teams also have in common? What is one common denominator of 3 of our Final Four? What do they all have in common?
Heisman Trophy winner.
Keep on thinking.
Great quarterbacks.
You're close. You're getting real warm. Next question about the quarterback. What about those quarterbacks? 3 of the 4
were national champion. Oh, they were Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks, or they were
3 of the 4. Come on.
3, Jeff.
3 of the 4. What do they have in common?
Transfers.
Okay. They are transfers.
Yes.
What would LSU be like without Burrow right now?
Yeah.
What Ohio State Fields, right? So think of, and then of course Jalen Hurts at Oklahoma.
All 3 guys that are going to be at the Heisman ceremonies are transfers.
Okay.
All 3 quarterbacks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, FSU, I got a quarterback that nobody's been talking about. I forget his name even. The quarterback at Memphis. Catch this. This kid committed out of high school to where?
He committed.
Where did he commit?
Florida State?
Nope. Arizona State.
Okay.
And he was there with Norvell.
Yeah.
Norvell leaves. What did the kid do? Transferred to Memphis. Set out a year. He did the whole transfer thing, set out a year, and now as the starting quarterback. So these seasons, it's this quarterback. He's a graduate.
Brady White.
Brady White.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
Brady White is a graduate and has one more year of eligibility. Now, is he got the national recognition? No. But you get smarter. A part of these older quarterbacks is reading defenses and whatever. So here's a kid that if he wants to showcase himself, I bet he comes over. I bet he comes.
And they did lose a 4-star commit in Jeff Sims today. He decommitted.
I heard the story. Did you hear the story behind that?
No.
This is some of this.
This is great stuff. This is what I'm excited right now.
This is some insider story.
I need this right here.
Norvell visited him, and I would think, great, he's there to visit him, and told him that I cannot guarantee that you'll see any playing time anytime soon. I just want to tell you to your face, coming in, from what I see and my offenses, I would love to have you, but I cannot guarantee you that you will get anywhere near immediate playing time. And that was the conversation. So honest on Norvell's part.
So you think this was a Willie Taggart and him conversation, that he was guaranteed playing time then? I mean, he wouldn't have committed, it sounds like.
And it looked pretty good. I mean, if you looked at James Blackman, who you could fight with, I mean, because Blackman's done okay, but not wonderful. And we still don't know if Travis can even throw the ball. I love his Wildcat now, but can he throw the ball? So it looks pretty wide open. Just we're very short on quarterbacks. Willie whiffed on 2 selections, but I don't think he'd have had that conversation unless he knew something. And I'm just telling you, this kid's already jumped, and now he's a graduate.
Yeah.
1 + 1 = 2. I'll bet you he comes, and there's a kid that knows the system. He knows the system. He's smart for the 1-year thing. And is he a world beater? No, he's probably a 3-star. I bet you're coming out of high school. But at the end of the day, he's morphed into a pretty darn good quarterback. And all that. So I think that's what's going on. I also know that his offensive coordinator, for some reason, they say on the internet, has a pipeline to JUCOs. So I guess for whatever reasons, people have their connections, and he is the JUCO connection was for Auburn. So I think it'll be interesting. So there's also, I noticed of the 10 of the class at Memphis coming in that we would be interested in, of the 10, 4 offensive line. So we need some offensive linemen. We don't need flash. We need bodies and big kids that'll hit the weight room and work. And if we could bring in have a great recruiting class on offensive line, kind of boring. But I think Terry, did you see Terry's comment yesterday? Did you see the receiver?
I saw something, but yeah.
Telling the kids to get behind Norvell. If he was totally skipping out, I don't think he'd do that. I think Terry's coming back. I think the recruiting, what does he have to do? So can he bring in Brady White? I think he can. Can he keep Terry? Forget some young 18-year-old. Can we keep a 5-star receiver that's proven? If we can keep that redshirt sophomore Terry, that's huge.
Is there anything in the works with this Brady White, or is this just a good system to do it? Is there?
I think this is supposition on my part.
Okay, well, no, I mean, hey, look, you've convinced me that you obviously you've won case here. I know you must be a lawyer. You've convinced me.
It just makes sense. It all makes sense to me, and they're used to working.
It makes sense.
He's bringing in the old offensive coordinator or whatever, and I'm sure they'll go through the. We'll find out soon enough. But I think he wouldn't have had that conversation. So the Sims conversation is not supposition. That's
okay.
I heard through some insiders that was the discussion, and that Norvell went there, but he also was very honest. I think those were the questions. So because he did meet. It's a fact that he met with them. So why would the kid all of a sudden say, "Oh, he's waited all this time"? He's one of the few kids. We had 19, or maybe we had 21 commits. And we were down to like 14 or 15. So why would he wait all that time? Are you reading something?
Yeah, he's reading some. Yeah.
So go ahead, pipe in.
But that makes sense because the crystal ball predictions for 247 for Jeff Sims, and what you're talking about with what Norvell being honest with him about, I don't know if you're going to see the playing field anytime soon. Well, his backup plan is Georgia Tech, and that's a pretty good backup plan if you want to play immediately right now. Because Florida State, that was where he wanted to go, but Georgia Tech was the one in case that it was the backup plan right there, and that makes sense. Everything you're saying right now makes complete sense.
And he's going back to some of the kids that have decommitted and see, and they didn't say, "Oh, we're through with you." They said very nice when they decommitted. There were very nice tweets, and just saying we want to step back. We don't know what's going on, and so so those kids, if they were already committed, have some kind of loyalty. Although the way it goes to these commitments, these kids aren't as loyal as they used to be. But some of these kids could have been raised Seminoles. We don't know. But he's going after whoever. We'll see.
Yeah.
Cam Akers will be gone. There's no way Cam's coming back, and I don't blame him. Cam has given his heart and soul to FSU, and I applaud him. And he needs to be at the next level, and he just can't afford a freak injury. He's got nothing else to prove, which is totally different than Terry. I think Terry could really come up with some big stats with the right system, and he's a redshirt sophomore. So he's technically eligible. He did put his name as a feeler to the NFL, but he doesn't have an agent or anything like that, so he's still eligible.
Why don't we all, us three in this room, or whoever's listening to today's Tomahawk Talk Show, Willie Taggart Jr. is on that list from Florida High, almost led them. They just got knocked out in the Final Four. How great of a story. Willie Taggart Jr. gets committed to Florida State, wins the title, and they win a championship with Taggart. How about that? Let's get that. Let's just make that script happen. That sounds like the next Rudy movie. He is actually on their list. I was looking at that. He's too small though. He's not a big guy. He's only 6 foot.
He shouldn't be Catholic when they threw that Hail Mary.
But he's a 3.5 star.
Well, hold on. Have you ever heard of a guy? You probably haven't heard of this name, but Google him if you hadn't heard. Have you ever heard of Kyler Murray?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so all that kid ever heard from Pee Wee football, you're not big enough.
Well, I mean, and I'm going to show Terrence here, but look, we do have Willie Taggart, and look at the college list down at the bottom right there.
Okay.
I'm just saying, this isn't a hypothetical. He actually has Florida State.
I know, but 6'1", that's a new age.
I know.
I mean, they had
what a story that would be, right?
Before the combine, they put Kyler Murray in a stretching machine, and he came out at 5'10" and a quarter.
Yeah.
And he spent the whole night on the rack, to get to 5'10" and a quarter.
I just want, for our job's sake in sports broadcasting, Willie Taggart Jr. to be the next quarterback at Florida State, so we can just have fun. But
good storyline.
Exactly.
Probably won't happen.
No, it won't. It won't.
We'll see. But anyway, we'll see what he does for the class. It may be a different class than we're used to, because if we get JUCOs in, and it's just going to be hard to get whoever at this point. We'll see. But I was so impressed. Did you watch his opening speech, his acceptance speech?
Yes.
Oh, God, the guy is laser focused. Forget being articulate, but it was just so laser focused, so intense, so passionate. It's got to pour over to these kids. And this guy's all about. You can tell he's a type A. He's going to try his darndest to do as best he can. I want to talk to our Seminoles who are listening. We're not playing for a national title next year.
Yes.
We probably are not going to beat Clemson next year and play for the ACC championship next year, okay, fans? But if we can get 8 wins, 9 wins next year, beat the people that we're supposed to beat Wake Forest, beat NC State, beat Boston College, play Florida tough, beat Miami. If we could do that, that's pretty good. After what we're coming. So it's not going to happen overnight. So let's don't be too judgmental of this young man coming in.
After Clemson, Florida State can feel confident they can play with any team in the ACC. And that's how it is right now.
And we open up with West Virginia, by the way.
That's a good thing right now.
In fact, you just reminded me, I'm going to go book my hotel in Atlanta. It'll be in Atlanta. It's the same thing that we did with Alabama several years ago.
Try to be nice to Neil Brown, though. He's a good guy at West Virginia. He was at Troy. We had lunch together. He's a nice human being. So we'll try. Now, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the bowl game coming up here. Some would not want to see them in this bowl game, especially with the mascot, but others might say this.
They're great. Like a catfish.
This is Tort Talk with personal injury lawyer Terrence A. Gross.
Hi, this is Terrence A. Gross. Lawyers like doctors specialize these days. You wouldn't go to a cardiologist for knee surgery or a gastro doctor for neck surgery. Therefore, if you are injured in a car accident, you should choose a law firm that specializes in personal injury law. At Gross & Schuster, all 4 lawyers have limited their practices to representing accident victims against insurance companies.
Visit grossandschuster.com.
No matter what team or sport you love, connect with it all on SiriusXM. Hear ESPNU and more in your car, on your phone, and at home when you subscribe now with packages starting at $5 per month plus fees. Get closer to every major league with play-by-play, expert analysis, and even fantasy sports coverage. Plus, ad-free music, comedy, entertainment, news, and more. Connect with what matters on SiriusXM. Visit SiriusXM.com/listenESPN to learn more and subscribe. Channel lineup varies by package.
Jackson Pace Pharmacy has exciting news for ED patients. Viagra 100 milligram generic is finally here. Get it today. 30 tablets for $80, less than $3 a pill. You heard right. Viagra 100 milligram generic is less than $3 a tablet. A prescription from your doctor is required, so stop by Jackson Pace Pharmacy and cash in on the savings today. 2256 West 9 Mile Road in Pensacola.
Sports Call with Davis and Justin.
Every single game, I have been wrong. I have been dead wrong. I have been so wrong.
Top sports stories, the biggest games.
With Houston's lineup and their roster, you know that they're all really dedicated. The chemistry is there, and they're hard to beat.
The weekends are made for sports, so catch Sports Call with Davis and Justin every Saturday from 11 to 1 on Pensacola's home for sports. ESPN Pensacola, 1330, FM 99.1.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
And welcome back. It is Tomahawk Talk right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Having a chance to sit down with Terrence A. Gross of the Gross & Schuster Law Firm, proud sponsors of Tomahawk Talk. And Terrence, you got the game against, on paper, 2 decent teams, programs. Arizona State, 2 great party schools, too. Arizona State and Florida State battling it out right there as the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl gets set in 19 days over in El Paso, Texas. El Paso is one of those, if you have ever driven across the country, you go through I-10, El Paso, through Las Cruces right there, then you get checked. There's a little point where if your car's full of stuff, you get checked by the Border Patrol. It's not fun. But all of this is, especially if your last name is Brillante, and you go through, but it's a really unique stadium. It's on the side of a mountain, and it's overlooking right there. They got the sunset coming in, one of the reasons they call it the Sun Bowl, and they have the mountain overlooking inside the stadium. So the stadium is almost built on the side of like a canyon rock. It's unique, but outside of that, I don't think a lot of Florida State fans want to go. I'm trying to spice this up somehow. But the Tony the Tiger Bowl, the matchup is it's actually a decent matchup, though, against Arizona State.
For the season we've had, and we just limped in, with our 6 wins, I'm amazed at the bowl because I really was looking at a lesser bowl like the Shreveport like last year or the year before. And a worthy opponent that they knocked off Oregon this year. They got Herm Edwards. They're a team that has had better years and is looking up, I believe. They, like us, have speed. I think you'll have a lot of talent. And I think between the 2 teams, you'll probably have the best-looking cheerleaders in all
Yes.
the bowls. Yeah, so you're definitely in the Sun Belt. So anyway, but no, that's going to be challenging. And I think it's really interesting because, when Norvell came to FSU and gave his talk just the other day, he was uncertain whether he was going to go ahead and coach Memphis in the Cotton Bowl against Penn State. And I thought, dude, you just signed a big contract. I know you're 38. I'm not your dad. I'm old enough to be your father, but you can't do that. And he's already quickly just overwhelmed. He's gotten there to recruit. There's no way he could coach. I know his heart's with that team, But it's unfortunately it's in the rearview mirror. So he's already announced that he's not going to coach. I know he'd want to. Got Penn State, what a glorious game. Cotton Bowl, Penn State, but he just can't do it. I mean, he's switched allegiances. He's got to follow through. And meanwhile, I haven't heard a peep as to whether or not he's going to coach us in the Sun Bowl. I doubt it.
I think they'll still go with Odell on this
and
one.
And maybe because I think really he's still trying to assemble staff, and he also has to still recruit, at least up to the 18th. And then our bowl is December 28th, maybe, or 30th. 30. I don't know.
It's the day of the Sun Bowl is actually on. It's a Tuesday, December 31st.
Oh, it's New Year's Eve.
Yes, it
wow.
is, and it
okay.
usually is the early game. I know the Sun Bowl usually kicks off the day. I believe Stanford and Pittsburgh played in it last year, and I think it's $22 right now. You can get some, but it is one too though that is usually earlier, and it's usually not situated in a time slot next to. I think it's good that they're on a Tuesday, and what I mean is usually around the 31st, people get off. It's New Year's Eve. People are already going to be watching, and it's not at the same time as 15 other bowl games. Sometimes when you have one of those on a Saturday where there's so many bowl games, you get mixed up and you have to pick between four. And probably a lot of people aren't going to pick Florida State, Arizona State over a primetime game. This game, it looks like, has got its own time slot, which is good on a Tuesday. But, yeah, it's going to be a game where, remember, too, Norvell has ties to Arizona State. He was the coordinator there. He's been there, so he has ties. When he had back in his dread day and his more cool-looking, kid, just got off the basketball court looking day, Mike Norvell was the head coach of, not the head coach, but he was a coordinator at Arizona State. So he does have ties to the school as well, which will be cool that he can shake some hands probably with some of the people that are still there.
Yeah, but also you alluded to it, but I don't predict that the Seminoles will flock to that game, especially with that timing. So you got to go all the way out to El Paso, which is no easy trip. And then it's on New Year's Eve, which kind of, as far as motels and what do you do. And so it's going to, I don't think there'll be a big attendance.
We do have a question coming in, Terrence. Who will be, and you can text in at 850-623-1330, or you can call us at 850-623-1330 is the number to be part of Tomahawk Talk. We have a question coming in. Who do you believe will be the starting quarterback for Florida State next season?
We may not know the name. If I just pretty much said it, but I think it's going to be the Memphis quarterback. If I had to just guess, I'm gonna guess the.
But will he be able? Because he's a graduate, so he's a grad.
He's a graduate. He'll have one more year of eligibility. He redshirted and sat out a year, so he's probably been out of high school 6 years. I think.
I will go with Blackman. I think I'll go with Blackman. Jeff,
why not?
I agree with you to an extent. I think it's going to be a transfer. I think this is going to be a big offseason. They're going to have a big name transfer in. Although Blackman wouldn't be a bad name. I mean, it's a safe bet. But whether it's Brady White at Memphis or somebody else, there's going to be somebody intrigued, and it's going to be a big name come in.
Look, Blackman's the kind of guy that is – I'm using this word. I think it's a polite word, but he's serviceable for what they're expecting next year. I think Florida State – as an alumni, it's not going to be 11-1 next year. But if you can go 8-4, look good with beating teams, beat the Wake Forest, beat the Boston College like you talked about, beat those teams. If they get a couple pieces on the offensive line, some transfer. To me, it's more important to get some transfers from the line. If you can get a couple of transfers from that line and James Blackman, who yes bulked up a little, but he needed some protein shakes to get outside of blowing away in the wind. If you get James Blackman back there behind a decent offensive line and you have the right offense, he can throw the football. You put a couple guys, if Terry comes back and you have a good offense of him spreading where it's a 3-step route, drop, throw, then I think he's going to be, like I said, a serviceable, not people going, we need to find our next quarterback. Is James Blackman going to lead him to a title down the line or anywhere? No, that's never going to happen. But I think that James Blackman will be the starter for next season and then the next guy. But if they get into Brady White, then that's his guy. That's also, that's still up in the air whether he's going to transfer or not. But that's just my opinion on James Blackman. But I think with the right system, the Willie Taggart, I think a lot of the guys on this team right now, Terrence, I don't think it's fair to judge a lot of these athletes offensively because of the turmoil, the confusion of who was in charge. Kendall, was it Willie, was what was happening. There was just the offensive line was terrible. There was so much confusion in that locker room where the next Norvell's not going to have that.
Well, and Blackman, too, I could argue many things to his credit. I mean, he was thrown to the Wolves his first year. I mean, it's a true freshman, a 3-star, not even no idea he'd be playing. And then Francois had that terrible injury first game. So he was brought in and then with a bad offensive line. So he took a beating. He's taken a beating his whole career. So if he had the proverbial 3 seconds on every play, I think his stats would be a lot better than they are. But again, with our line being so porous and not picking up blitzes and whatever, it's been tough for anybody to be a successful quarterback.
Yeah, I'm going to show you a stat right here, and you've seen it. But the difference was Hornibrook could think on his feet and make some outside the pocket throws. James Blackman, when he got pressured, became a liability. So, but in the right system, if you have a decent offensive line where he can step back and throw the ball on a route where he doesn't have to try to create, he's not going to look as bad. But no, when he was running for his life, James Blackman's not the quarterback that you're going to make the plays. First off, he's too lengthy. I mean, his size. Some of those guys like Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray, those guys, they're 5'11", 5'10", and they get outside the pocket and they can sneak around. When you're 6'5" and you're trying to do that, it's not an easy move. And I think that's something as well. Looking at those stats, that's important to recognize as well.
One name it's off the radar, and you probably won't hear it, but just because
Tom Brady Jr. No,
definitely not. All right, now anyway. De'Aaron King, the quarterback that sat out for Houston. Now he started and he played a couple games. Then he said, "I'm going to redshirt," and he's been quoted as saying, "Listen, I want to be in Houston. I don't think anybody would." He came out of his way to say, "I don't think anybody would reach out to me." But even if they did, I want to stay at Houston, that type of thing. Like, you don't have to say, I don't think anybody would reach out to me. You don't have to say that. So that would be a tremendous name for Florida State as well.
I was thinking that, but he has a connection to Bryles. See, they were connected, but if Bryles is leaving, I don't think he'll have a chance. In fact, I think King starts for – who is he going to start for? A team that has been the national limelight for the past several years, always with a transfer quarterback. What is the one team in America?
Oklahoma.
Makes
sense.
That's where, I mean, you got Lincoln Riley, if he'll have him. You got look at the pedigree, and right now
Hurts, Murray, and Mayfield were all transfers.
Okay,
yeah.
Transfers,
all three of them. Yeah,
Heisman's, and right now I think Jalen's going to come in second. I think Burrow gets the Heisman. I think Jalen comes a distant second. But imagine that. I mean. Who? And he's the guru. So I mean, I think if Riley wants him, but I think King's pretty good. I'd be a little disappointed about 1-3, no injury. Ups, we're not having a good season. I pull out. So is that really the kind of mentality you really want? So there's a little bit of Lincoln Riley may not want that. I don't know, but again, I don't know what he's got below either because there's been so much focus on Hurts this year. I don't know what Oklahoma has sitting in the weeds.
I think one of the things we do understand though is this is not going to happen overnight. And to your point with Mike Norvell coaching in the bowl game, I bet 100% that's not going to happen because if they put him in that situation, it's not the real product. He doesn't have his coordinators in place yet. He doesn't have his system in place yet. So you're throwing a guy into the wolves, and you're giving false impressions to the fans. And you don't want, and that would be a bad look. That's like throwing a lawyer into a case that he hasn't studied and trying to.
I agree.
So I would hope in this matter that, but I do think he's going to be on the sidelines. He'll have his shades. He'll probably look cool there in the Sun Bowl, and he'll be shaking hands and being on the sidelines and being around some of the alumni that come back for the game. I do like the hire from a standpoint of what it seemed was available. Do you believe in your heart still that I do know that we all do know they went after Stoops. We know that, but do you believe in your heart that James Franklin was we've talked about this a little, but that was a close move from James Franklin becoming the next head coach? Do you think that was?
No, I think he could have leveraged the moment. I don't know him well enough. But he's got a great thing at Penn State.
He does, yeah.
It's a great. It's not a step up. Everybody else could have been a step up, but it wasn't a step up. And then they panicked, as you would have guessed. So right now, Franklin loves FSU. PK Fleck loves FSU, and Campbell loves FSU because they're all making a lot more money because FSU sniffed around.
That's right. They all got raises. Everybody got
big raises.
Big raises. All of them. Yeah.
Oh, major league raises. So, I think, and they probably all have Sexton as their agent. Probably. It's so bad with him. He represents every coach in America. And he's playing them all. He's playing. I don't like the guy. I'm not a big fan of his. But
no, nobody is. The guy. Think about his job. He makes. You just mentioned a bunch of guys that all of these guys got raises as Jimmy Sexton rakes in millions for pretty much putting his own clients against his own clients, against his own clients, and he has he has talent in his own regard, but doesn't actually have talent to make the millions, but he's getting so much money everywhere else. So yes, there is a reason why Jimmy Sexton is not liked like Drew Rosenhaus in the NFL and his. But you know what? They don't care. They sit back and Jimmy Sexton's smiling with that. He just looks like the guy that would be representing everybody out there as well. When we come back, we're going to talk a little more about Florida State's upcoming we'll look into some of the other bowl games. We always get into some of the other championship games. We'll talk about championship week. We all talked last Wednesday that Mike Norvell would be the coach. It did come through as really breaking down based on eliminating everyone else at that point and who was left. And he won the bowl game, and right after it was over, became Florida State's next head coach. We're coming back for more right here with Terrence A. Gross of the Gross & Schuster Law Firm, proud sponsors of Tomahawk Talk.
This is Tort Talk with personal injury lawyer Terrence A. Gross.
Hi, this is Terrence A. Gross. In 1986, the Florida Bar limited personal injury contingency fees through trial to 40%. At that time, I thought that was too high. I've now practiced personal injury law in Northwest Florida for over 40 years, and I'm proud to say I've never charged a client 40%.
Tort Talk is brought to you by Terrence A. Gross. Call 434-3333 or check him out at grossandschuster.com.
This year, don't just say Happy Holidays. Get a gift that says, I love every moment that led us here. With the incredible selection of Le'Veon jewelry at Jared and more exclusive designs than any other store in the world, it's a perfect place to find a gift that says it all. Shop the Le'Veon Fall in Love event from December 3rd to 12th for exclusive offers, including $100 off any Le'Veon purchase, only at Jared.
Get a promo code or find a store near you at jared.com. Exclusions apply. See store or jared.com/Le'Veon for complete details.
You're in charge of hiring, and Indeed has solutions, like online skills tests, which let a candidate show that they're the right hire. Indeed will also give you this sticky frog, which will suddenly leap and stick to the face of the perfect hire. Okay, there's no sticky frog. But skills tests, that's a for sure.
See why independent research by Silk Road shows Indeed delivers 3 times more hires than any other job site. Post your next job at Indeed.com/hire and try skills tests for free. Terms and conditions apply.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
And welcome back, Tomahawk Talk, right here on ESPN Pensacola. Joined by Jeff Price, Terrence A. Gross of the Gross & Schuster Law Firm, proud sponsors of Tomahawk Talk each and every Wednesday from 1 to 2. Terrence, we always break down all the big games throughout the week. Well, it wasn't any bigger week than Conference Championship Week, and LSU gets the 1 seed. Ohio State gets the 2. You end up having Clemson at the 3, and Oklahoma gets the number 4 seed, which everybody is already pretty much eliminating them from the ranks. However, it was the one team with the name. Utah loses to Oregon. You have Oklahoma beating Baylor. The committee wanted to see that. I don't think they wanted Georgia to beat LSU because then you're having just 2 one-loss SEC teams instead of a powerhouse with the Heisman. You know, they want to hype the Heisman and the power of LSU. So I think they got the 4 exact teams that they were hoping Conference Championship Week worked out because they all have big names to them. They all have great stories like Jalen Hurts and some of these. And they all bring a good fan base to spend money at the bowl game. So I like the matchups. Did you like, though, that Ohio State was 2 and LSU was 1? Did you think that was right?
I don't think it really matters. Even Joe Burrow said, we don't care where we end up. We'll play anybody, anywhere, on any turf.
Yeah.
And I like that idea. And Dabo Swinney said about the same thing with Clemson. He doesn't give a flip. Let's just play football. We got to win anyway, so who cares? They're all good teams. Oklahoma, I think it's an exciting team. I've watched a lot of Oklahoma this year because of Jalen Hurts. He could do anything. He's a magician. He's not as good as Lamar Jackson, but he's Lamar Jackson-like. I mean, as far as his ability to run and so forth. Their defense is wanting, but they're going to be a very tough team for anybody that plays. So LSU doesn't have some kind of just shoe-in bye as their first game. They're going to beat Oklahoma, a very good team. So we'll see about that. I really believe that LSU is the best team in the country. I mean, not only did they beat Georgia, it's the way they beat Georgia. They just pounded a very good Georgia. Georgia had one of the top defenses in the country. You wouldn't have known it watching that game. So Burrow's just crazy good. So not only is he going to be the Heisman, but I don't see how he's not the first-round draft pick. They're having a glorious season. They got lots of athletes. But, nobody's really given Clemson much love. Maybe they're falling. They've won so much to become like Alabama. A lot of people are rooting against them because they've had too much success lately. And everybody remembers the UNC game where they just squeaked by in an awful game about laid an egg. But I think Dabo's got them thinking right. I think they're better. I think I always mess his name up. Etienne, how do you say his name?
Travis Etienne, yeah.
Etienne, I think he's a real deal. I think he's if I was an NFL coach, he'd be my number one pick for running back. I know there's lots of great running backs out there. I love that kid.
Yeah, I think Clemson's the team that we don't know enough about. I mean, because you go back to it and you can say, well, they haven't played anybody. Well, it's not their fault, but they've handled their business outside the UNC game. And I think it's the way they dominate people. And this is the same team they've had success with. Yeah, they had their whole defensive line pretty much go to the NFL draft. But, I've said for the past few weeks, this line is deeper now. They have more depth on this line, and they've given up fewer points. Now, that's also with the ACC the way it is this year. But the secondary is the same. And then offensively, how do you stop those guys? And this is perfect. Dabo said, thanks, guys, for all the free fuel. We're going all the way out to the West Coast to play. Keep letting us, keep hating on us. That's fine. This is easy money right here.
Well, and also, we all understand Vegas doesn't have these billion-dollar skyscrapers everywhere because they lose, and they know how to set lines, and Danny Sheridan, the guys that do that. But you had, on a neutral site field, you had Clemson as a 28.5-point favorite over Virginia, and Florida's a 13-point favorite. And Florida's a very good football team this year. I mean, they're a good This is one of the best Florida teams we've seen in a decade. And Florida they were toe-to-toe with LSU in Death Valley for 3.5 quarters during the game on prime time during that. So I hope people just don't just go up. Clemson doesn't play anybody. Look at how good they're beating. They set an NCAA record for beating 6 teams. They were all ACC teams, but there were 6 teams by 35 points or more in 6 straight weeks. That's never happened where Power 5 opponents have been beaten by 5 touchdowns or more in 6 consecutive weeks. This team, if Dabo Swinney has no reason to come out there and say that this Clemson team's not as good as the other Clemson team, and he said this team's better. He said this team this year is better than last year. And he's been a little upset how people have just been sort of lashing. And he's just like, we got to take care of our business. But the way Paul Feinbaum and Paul will come on here next, but Dabo's been defending his guys. But you do have the core, the Scotts, the T. Higgins, the ATNs, the Trevor Lawrences, a lot of those guys, more depth on defense. I'm telling you, there's a reason why Ohio State, people are arguing as the best roster Ohio State maybe has ever had, and Clemson's a 1-point favorite or a 2-point favorite almost in this matchup. They're a good football team, and you got 3 championship caliber teams this year. It's going to be great to watch. Personally, I woke up this morning and I keep thinking in my head, because when something's that hard, you've been in a court case probably in your life, Terrence, where you're just like, oh gosh, I'm even sitting here talking, but it's so both sides are going to have such a good case when you're waiting for the jury to make that decision. It's like you're just waiting on the edge because you know this case could go either way. For the 3 teams in that, and sorry, Oklahoma, I'm just basing it that they don't play much defense. You have 3 deserving right now juggernauts. And it's the first time I've seen that 3 juggernauts right now in this game this year. I'm going to go with LSU. I've made that decision in my head based on that. I've not seen anybody beat Joe Burrow, so I'm not going to pick against that. I thought Georgia would give a game. They got dominated by 27 points. So I'm going to go with Joe Burrow to continue. He doesn't have to beat Clemson and Ohio State and then win a title. He only has to beat Oklahoma, then win a title. So I got LSU winning it all, but, man, all three of these teams, this is going to be a lot of fun.
What's the line of LSU-Oklahoma?
I think it was 11. I think it was LSU by 11.
That's a big line, yeah.
Well, there were 7 by Georgia, and they beat them by 27. They are getting – Joe Burrow's shown no signs of at any point this year somebody being able to stop him. And he's played against 5 top 10 teams at the time. He played Texas when they were top 10 at Texas. Dominated. They played Auburn, Florida. They played against Alabama at Alabama, which is the most hostile environment, most people would say, to play in the country. And then they go out there and they beat Georgia. They have 5 top 10 games when they played them, and he's dominated all these games.
It's 13.5 now.
It's 13.5 now.
That's crazy. That's crazy for that caliber. And I would go with that. Everything you said I have to agree with. But I just have this love affair with Jalen Hurts, and I know he's a human being, but he's the X factor. And if he could just give,
I hope he does,
dream game, run for 125 yards and throw, because he throws better. By the way, he's such a good runner that he doesn't get credit for throwing. I think Lamar Jackson had that same problem, but I think on the next level, I think 2 years ago, I felt that Jalen would make it to the NFL, maybe not as a quarterback, but just as an athlete. I now believe he'll make it as a quarterback. I really believe that in my
I hope
heart.
he does. He is a great story, and he's a better human being. I know you were talking about helping with the homeless, and I know that he's somebody that is dedicated to helping off the field just as much as on the field. Incredible guy. And his stories with him and Tim Tebow and some of the charitable work they've done, a class act, and deserves all the praise. There's a reason he's loved in so many different cities for what he's done. When we come back, we're going to talk a little more Florida State football. We'll look into some of the bowl games and talk some more on Mike Norvell right here on Tomahawk Talk.
This is Tort Talk with personal injury lawyer Terrence A. Gross.
Lately, a lot of out-of-town lawyers have advertised here in Northwest Florida. I have practiced here for over 40 years. We now have 5 offices to serve the victims in the Panhandle: Pensacola, Navarre, Milton, Crestview, and Fort Walton Beach.
Tort Talk is brought to you by Terrence A. Gross. Call 434-3333 or check him out at grossandschuster.com.
Sometimes for inspiration, you just have to look up. For more than 60 years, the Goodyear blimp has fueled greatness on the gridiron by providing aerial coverage of some of the most legendary moments in college football history. When the Goodyear blimp rises above a stadium, it inspires players to reach higher and rise to the challenge of the game's biggest moments. Now it's your turn to go further with Goodyear. Discover tires made to rise above the rest. Learn more at Goodyear.com. Goodyear, more driven.
Holiday traditions are alive and well inside every Home Depot. And right now, outside as well, with a lot full of fresh-cut Christmas trees of every size and shape. Come walk the lot, pick one out, and save. Or, if you can't make it outside, order online and we'll deliver one right to your door for free. Fresh-cut Christmas trees, in-store, or with free online delivery, only from the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Selection and prices vary by store. See store for details.
Talk football every day with Pensacola's own Coach K.
Credit a great performance by Garoppolo. And I love the way he throws the football. He's got all the things going for him.
Every weekday, noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1.
This is Jeff Price with ESPN Pensacola. On behalf of all of us here at ESPN Pensacola, we want to wish the Escambia Gators football team good luck in your state championship game against Miami Central. Go Gators!
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
And welcome back. Tomahawk Talk right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Terrence A. Gross, the Gross & Schuster Law Firm, proud sponsors of the show. And Terrence, I know, it's right now Florida State football getting set to go against Arizona, but I know we were just talking and you wanted to get to something here.
You said sponsor. Tomorrow we are sponsoring a cookout on the front steps of my law office for our friends, for our clients, but also for the homeless, really. And it'll be from 11 to 2 on the corner of Palafox and Cervantes. We will be blowing and going, frying, grilling, everything. This will be about the third or fourth year we've done it. From 11 to 2, corner of Palafox and Cervantes. Come hungry, we'll feed you.
That's awesome. You guys have a great staff. When we ran around, we missed you. I know you were in the middle of working. It was a work day, but we were driving around the bus for Turkey Trot, and you got just a great staff. I know you get to work with family too, which is always cool because I'm every minute away. You realize cherishing those moments how important it is to have family around there. So it is that's a cool feeling as well. And I want to say that as Florida State fans, I feel this week, and I talk to a lot of them, and you do as well, obviously, but I've talked to about 7 or 8 people, and it feels like a lot of weight has been lifted off their back of the coaching search, the negativity, the loss to Florida. It's just like a fresh start. Who cares if the logo of the bowl looks like some kind of children's storybook there with Tony the Tiger? But I want to talk about the future with Mike Norvell. It looks like there's something that can be built because he's done it before. Where with Taggart, I was hoping, we all sat there at the yacht club that day and we all hoped, but his track record never showed that they were dominant, that they made these bowl games or made that. Mike Norvell right now has Memphis in a New Year's Eve 6 game against Penn State. That's a great feat.
That's crazy. Yeah. So he seems to be a winner. He's passionate. He's energetic. I have nothing negative to say about Willie Taggart. It just didn't work out. The team never really improved. We led the nation in penalties last year, leading the nation in penalties this year. It just didn't come around. I don't think anybody expected, again, 11-win seasons. But, we lost our continuous bowl record last year, so didn't make any bowl, and we limped in this year 6-6 and barely get a bowl. It's a good bowl, really, for a 6-6 team, but given the FSU tradition, we want more, we demand more. So it's just not a matter of being bowl eligible. That's a very low bar.
And the possibility of Terry coming back is definitely a possibility, but for Cam Akers, he's headed to the NFL draft.
Big Marvin's gone.
Yep.
The other thing we haven't talked about that's interesting, I believe this, I don't know what you think, I have a prediction that Cam Akers will play in the Sun Bowl. Some people are speculating that he'll sit it out because it's not a bowl of any consequence. Why risk getting injured in a inconsequential bowl? I think if I know Cam's personality, I think he'll play.
Yeah, I think it's up to him, obviously, unless somebody just came up to him and said, listen, way too much money for you to do this. I think the type of person he is, I agree with you. I think I don't see him sitting out. I just don't.
I do want to bring up another point, too, because we only have a couple minutes left. Talking about running backs at Florida State, Warwick Dunn was given the award for a Sports Person of the Year, the Muhammad Ali Sports Person of the Year award. And to me, that's a huge achievement. He has helped get single moms into 193 homes. They've helped get single parents, single moms into 193 homes. And one of the fascinating stories of that, when Deshaun Watson was a younger kid, his mom, that was one of their homes. And you just never know the impact. I mean, at that moment, how critical that was. And everything can change the course of history in a second. That's what those movies and parallel universes, we don't have to get into that. But Deshaun Watson, that never happens. You never know the path of him having a place to go home to see his mom or things like that. It just is incredible, the stories that happened. And Warwick Dunn, what a class act. And I know you've talked, Terrence, I know you have.
I've talked about him, but I tell you, I have 4 favorite Seminoles of all time off the field, not Has nothing with the play, but Wart Dunn's way up there. Charlie Ward, Myron Rolle, who played safety, who is now at Harvard in neurosurgery, and Derek Brooks, who's still very active. I mean, he lives in, I believe, Tallahassee now, but very active in the community, very active with the boosters, giving. These are all four of those are givers who not only got some fame, got some money, and I love Jameis Winston on the field, off the field. Even today, I don't know about. It's just a question mark there. But anyway, so those four. But Wart Dunn, just exceptional kid. Having his mother murdered when he was 16 years old, a police officer killed in action, and he was the oldest of 5 children. Had to help raise his brothers and sisters. Bobby Bowden was so worried about him when he got to school as a freshman, coming from New Orleans when no parents to speak of. He got a roommate called Charlie Ward, and Charlie was a junior or senior at that time, and Charlie put him under his wing and mentored him, and they're still very close to this day.
And we had a chance. We were blessed with the chance to have a guy like Charlie Ward here in Pensacola. It didn't work out from a coaching standpoint with Washington, but I've talked to Charlie a couple of times. I was at his book signing when he was in here and just one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. Everybody is better for meeting Charlie Ward, and he is a class act. Well, Terrence, tomorrow, remember, tomorrow, correct? Or
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, out in front, right there, Gross & Schuster Law Firm right there on the corner of Palafox and Cervantes. You can't miss it right there, and go get yourself a chance to get down there and help. That's awesome. That's so cool. Well, we appreciate everything, and go Noles. All right. We're coming back. We'll do this again next Wednesday. It's Tomahawk Talk, brought to you by the Gross & Schuster Law Firm right here on ESPN Pensacola.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. If you would like to be a part of ESPN Pensacola as a sponsor or promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000 or visit our website at ESPNpensacola.com.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Alabama. It's your show. Go ahead. You got a damn burn crappy attitude. Let me talk, Tammy. Okay, go.
I really don't know where to go after that.
Don't take those calls.
I could give you my address and phone number if you're ever in this neck of the woods.
In my life, I've never had a phone call like that. Welcome to the program. We have reached the middle of the week, and glad all of you are with us. I think we got a pretty good show on tap. Live from New York on this cold winter day, even though it's still autumn. Thanks for being a part of the program. Let's get right to it. Let's share some headlines with you that you may find interesting. The NCAA, highly probable Congress passes athletic comp rules. What does this mean? We will dig deep into the conversation. Mark Emmert had plenty to say about it. Members of Congress care about college sports. They recognize how important it is to American society. They don't want to do harm. They want to make it better, but it's going to be a long road. It's not going to be something that happens overnight. Thanks, Mark, for checking in with us. Joe Brady has won the Broyles Award for the top assistant coach. Not bad for a guy that was just pretty much an intern last year with the Saints. Look at the difference, 31.3 points a game to 46, 17 passing TDs to 49, nearly doubled the passing yardage, and improved the yards per play. Lynn Bowden has won the Paul Hornung Award as college football's most versatile player. It is award season, in case you were wondering why we were sharing all those awards with you. Bowden was the only FBS player, actually the only one over the last 25 years with at least 300 passing receptions, 1,200 rushing yards, and 300 receiving yards in a season. You can say he did everything but sell popcorn. Here's what's coming up on the program this afternoon. Josh Bertaccini from Northwest